Welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. A night of restlessness has left me feeling fairly groggy this morning. The events of the previous day keep intruding upon my mind, the memories of how Emmy felt against me, the memory of our wrestling match, and most bothersome, the memory of her nightmare. She was in so much pain. I can't stop wondering what it must be like for her to wake up with nobody there. The shower shocks me awake with hot water. Awake, but still worried. What will happen today? Will things just go back to normal? End of the episode, back to the status quo. There's a connection yesterday, saying that any push us past the boundaries of normal friendship. Would that have been so bad? My mind goes blank to the look in Emmy's eyes after our pillow fight. It almost seemed like she was daring me to go on. Almost. But I can't know for sure. Anyway, the track captain's probably first in her affections. Don't be so hard on yourself. But even as I say that, my mind is already snorting derisively. I'm just looking for an excuse, a reason for everything to go wrong. It shall not be like that. A reason to not try. Stop it. It's almost as if I have even seen the two of them together outside of track practice, and clearly he's never invited. Emmy says as much herself. If they were close, surely he'd visit. I'm such a wuss. I would just go for it anyway, damn the consequences. That's what Emmy would do, I think. Hell, I know that's what she'd do. Which is partially why I'm convinced there's no interest on her end. She hasn't acted either. Maybe because of his track captain, it's possible she's got a bit of an unrequited crush thing going on. But who will be able to clarify their relationship? It sure as hell can't be Emmy. She's probably just laugh and ask why I want to know. And I'm not ready to answer that yet. Rin will probably just give me some cryptic answer or something. And then with my luck, she'd just ask Emmy, who would ask me why I wanted to know, and I've already covered that problem. I wonder, could I get away with asking the nurse? He seems pretty protective of Emmy. I'm sure he'd know if something was up. And he owes me for not letting Emmy know he forgot to tell me about her being ill, so he'll keep quiet. What if he asks me why I want to know, though? I can't shake him off. Just because I'm curious as a friend, he'll buy that, won't he? Of course. That's settled then. After the run, I'll talk to him while Emmy is waiting outside the office. There's no sign of Emmy when I arrive at the track. Is she still too ill? I'd like to give her 10 minutes. I'm a little early, and she was ill yesterday, so if she takes a while to show up, it shouldn't be surprising. Still, I'd hate to just waste my time, so I'll occupy myself by stretching and pacing back and forth anxiously. What if I went too far yesterday? Though she doesn't come because she's embarrassed. What if... There you again. You're early again, Hisao. I'm impressed. Just like that, I feel some of the tension leaving my body. Emmy seems to be bright and cheerful as usual, with no sign that she even was ill the other day, much less had a less than restful sleep. Still, I have to ask, sleep well last night? It's just a throwaway question, small talk. The sort of thing people ask somebody they bump into in the cafe while getting their morning coffee. But not for us. At least not for me. I don't know if Emmy realizes that I'm actually concerned about how well she slept last night, but the question does give her pause. After a short moment of what seems like her genuinely pondering this, she nods. Yep, sure did. Was it because of me? Did I actually help? Or are you just saying that to get me to stop asking questions? Good to hear. Emmy grins and begins warming up. So, ready to begin? Am I ready? Of course I'm ready. I was born ready. Don't get too confident around Emmy. Emmy laughs at my bravado and we take off running. And I keep a steady pace the whole time, breathing steadily. And I still feel dead at the end, but at least I don't gasp like a fish out of water now. Emmy are positively beaming after the run today. Nice job, Hisao. You're improving. You'll be half as fast as me in no time. This last line is delivered with a teasing grin that I've grown all too used to. Oh, how exciting. Emmy begins to run her sprints while I take a cool-down lap. She's really pushing herself today. What's with the additional push then? By the time I'm done with my lap, she's laying across one of the bleachers, looking exhausted. Goodness, not pushing it a little too much today, are you? You did just have a cold, you recall. Emmy gives an annoyed snort and sits up. Blah, I'm just trying to make up for lost time, that's all. I went twice hard today, you know. A good run always gets the kinks out, you know. Clears mine too. Oh? Emmy nods vigorously. Yep, it's a great outlet for that sort of thing. She does not explain further, and I don't ask. An outlet to what, though? Like an outlet to let out what kind of stress? I suspect I know the real reason she went so hard today. Being sick had nothing to do with it. Something's bothering her. Maybe the nightmare. Maybe something else. But it's not my place to pry. She'd tell me if she wants me to know. I'm sure that comes in handy. You have no idea. The sincerity in her voice confirms my suspicion. The only problem is, even though I know she'd tell me if she wanted me to know, I still want to know. Something on your mind, then? Emmy doesn't seem surprised by my question. Instead, she shrugs. No, there's nothing worth getting worried about. Really? She seems as if she's trying to convince herself as much as she's convincing me. I open my mouth to ask if yesterday is responsible for her current state of mind, but think better of it. Too much risk of her taking the question the wrong way. Besides, I'm not even sure myself what to think about yesterday. Really, I can only get about as far as how it felt to have Emmy sleeping next to me before my brain shuts down. Having her before me now covered in sweat looking wearily, she's making it difficult to think. Yeah, I hear you. We'd better hurry to see the nurse. We're running short on time. Aren't we always? Emmy laughs at this, a dry chuckle that seems most un-Emmy-like. Too true. For a brief moment she looks old, worn down by some old hurt. But just like yesterday, I can also see her shouldering the burden and straightening up slightly. And then she's back to being Emmy again. Come on then, Hisao. Okay, that's really unfair. With a sudden smile, she darts off. Hey, no fair! I take off after her, knowing that I won't catch her, but not caring. Even if there's no chance of catching her, I'll still run after her. Emmy's waiting for me at the door as I arrive. Well, well, look who's finally shown up. Yeah. Enjoy your victory while you can. Emmy grins as the nurse pokes his head out of the door. Well, there you are. Come on in, Hisao. In what has become a familiar routine by now, he checks my blood pressure and my heart rate. A bit fast today, isn't it? Yeah, I kind of raced Emmy here. But that's never a good idea. He leans in to whisper to me in a conspiratory manner. I don't know if you've heard, but Emmy's a bit of a track star. I reel back in mock surprise. Really? She never mentioned it before? The two of us share a laugh. Did she do okay today? Cold seemed to bother her? Why don't you ask her? He wants his opinion from a third perspective. Of course I'm going to ask her too, but she'll tell you that she didn't have any problems regardless of whether or not she did. So I'm asking you because you're her friend and would probably tell me if she had trouble today. When he puts it that way, yes indeed, it makes a lot more sense. She seemed pretty good today, if a little more tired than usual. She was already feeling better when I dropped by yesterday, so I'm not that surprised. The nurse nods, but I notice he tenses slightly when I mention yesterday's visit. Well, that's good to hear. I figured it was just a 24-hour thing. Emmy tends to recover quickly from colds and the like. Hey, speaking of Emmy, is she the track captain? Well, you know. A look of suspicion crosses his face. Why do you ask? Well, it's just that they seem kind of close, and I was just curious, you know. And I'd never ask her because that would be kind of embarrassing. So far so good now to really sell it. Besides, I think they make a cute couple. But that's not... Well, I don't suppose you're the first to think that, but I think I can say with some certainty that two of them would never do anything like that. Certainty? Yep. Not that I could tell you, of course. Confidentiality and all that. Yes. Yeah, right. You just like holding a secret over my head. That too. Right, get out of here. I'm a busy man, you know. I roll my eyes at his last statement and head out the door, motioning to Emma to go in. Emmy, I mean. The whole time I'm trying to keep from doing a celebratory dance. But children would never do anything like that. That's precisely the sort of thing I wants to hear. I'm half tempted to make some... Yeah, that's... Okay, both of those remarks are a little bit off the edge there. When you word it like that, it sounds like you're trying to get some kind of exploitation out of all this, which is not good. Besides, I still don't know how exactly Emmy feels about me. I mean, it's obvious that she cares about me as a friend, but something more than that? I can't be certain. Even so, I can't help but feel hopeful. I just need to figure out a good time to tell Emmy exactly how I feel. That puzzle should keep me occupied for the rest of the day at least. Okie dokie, the rooftop is completely deserted. Normally I could count on Ren to be up here before me, but she's strangely absent. I wonder if she decided to accompany Emily to the cafeteria for once. That seems pretty unlikely, but it's all I can think of right now. Part of me wants to go look for Rin, but a far larger part of me is too pleased with the way the sun feels for my skin to care. I pick idly at my lunch while I wait for Emmy and Rin to show up. It does not take long for me to hear the sounds of someone coming up the stairs. I wait until the door begins to open before talking. Took you long enough. Keeping me waiting for you, honestly. The two of you are... Huh? Well, that's odd. The only person standing in the doorway is Emmy, who looks mildly confused. What do you mean, huh? It's me, you know. Emmy, we run in the mornings. She grins and I feel my heart jump slightly in my chest at the sight. Yes, I knew that. I'm just confused. Where's Rin? Emmy's grin is replaced by a rather guilty-looking expression. Yeah, about that. I kind of... Sort of... What? Did you remove her from our group? Gave her my code. Okay. Oh dear. Am I at risk too? It would make sense after all. Emmy and I were in close contact the other day. So what did she and Rin do that got her ill? Steady on, old lad. Don't go down that road. Rin's just probably got a worse immune system than me. Emmy seems shocked by my comment, like she hasn't considered that before. I hope not. I feel terrible if you get ill because of me, Hisao. You've already done that once. Oh man, I think I feel a fever coming on. Emmy looks horrified and then quickly shifts into a more angry expression. Hisao, you stop getting sick this instant. I won't have it. Impulsively, she seized me by the collar. Are you listening to me, Hisao's immune system? Get your ass in. I gave a smart salute. Duly noted, ma'am. Emmy steps back and nods satisfied. Good. You are not allowed to miss any of our morning runs after all. But you missed a morning run. Emmy crosses her arms and looks at me haughtily. Yes, but that's a special case. It was me and not you. Oh, so if we're ill, we're not allowed to have a break. Is that what you're trying to get at, Emmy? That's not an explanation at all. Emmy looks flabbergasted. You're kidding, right? Nope. Not one bit. That explanation makes perfect sense. No, it doesn't. It's a blatant double standard. I don't see what that has to do with anything. Oh, fine. Emmy seems pleased by her victory. Anyway, is Rin going to be okay? She's not terribly ill, right? Emmy shakes her head. Nope, she'll be fine. I got her some cold medicine that should help her. Hopefully the person that goes through the door she won't try and kiss. Although I probably should have made sure she didn't try to take them all at... What? She should really read the label. She's done it before, you know. Done this sort of thing before is not a good sign whatsoever. Oh, it's just my goddamn phone telling me my... Cool. Lovely. She's done it before, you know. I should really have my phone with me when I record. Somehow I didn't find this all that surprising. I doubt Rinners want to pay attention to maximum dosages and such. You should probably check in on her later then. Just make sure. Emi shrugs. I'll stop by after practice. She'll be fine until then. Really? I nod, figuring that line of conversation is over. The only problem is, I don't know what else to think about. So, you got any more track meets coming up? This is a terribly roundabout way of trying to see if she's free on the weekend. If she's free, then maybe I can ask her on a date or something. Well, assuming I can get myself to actually form the words. Emi shakes her head. Nah, not for another couple of weeks, I think. The season's winding down. Yeah, I came right in the middle of things, didn't I? Does that mean exams are coming up soon? I should probably look into that. What do you mean on weekends if there's not a meet? An eyebrow goes up and Emi gets a teasing look on her face. You're awfully inquisitive today, aren't you? I shrug and hope it looks casual. Just making conversation. I don't know what it's like to be a track star after all. Flattery. She waves her hand idly. I'm not actually that good, you know. You just so happen to see me on a good day, is all. You liar. Yeah, but humility is the sign of a good athlete. At least that's what my dad used to say. She shrugs and tries unsuccessfully to hide the rather troubled expression her face has taken on. Hey, what's up? You seem bothered by something. Emi starts to deny it, then sighs in defeat. I wonder if she's too tired from being sick to get herself to deny it like usual. Or if she actually just trusts me enough at this point to open up. Well, you remember last night? Do I ever? I settle for nodding, however. That's not the first time that's happened to me. Actually, I get them kind of frequently. She pauses as if it suddenly occurred to her what she's doing. It's almost like she's breaking some sort of personal rule here. But she starts up again, choosing her words carefully. Well, not often, but on occasion. It's just been one of those weeks where that's what happens. A sigh escapes her, and she looks terribly frustrated. I reach over and give her a hug, which unlike last time doesn't seem to shock her. Instead, she seems to relax as my arms wrap around her. We stay that way for a while. Hey, you know I was serious last night. You really could talk to me and if this like this is bothering you. It's always difficult to do this sort of thing solo, you know. Emi smiles and breaks the embrace, but stays leaning on my shoulder. Thanks, Hisao. I'll be fine. I think. I can already see her reassembling herself, getting ready to bottle it all up again. Guess that topic's closed now. So hey, given any more thought to that career survey? Can't say I have. I don't tend to plan very far ahead, you know. Although I suppose I could at least start looking into college, huh? I shrug. I suppose, unless you were serious about that pirate thing. Last I checked, pirates don't have much need for universities. Unless there's like a pirate university out there somewhere. Arr! And our degrees are arr! Emi giggles and starts to look a little like her old self. But there's a new element to her expression. A bachelor with honours. Impish, that's how I describe it. Emi looks impish, looking up at me with her head nestled under my shoulder. Would you come with me if I ran off to be a pirate? Of course I would. Who in their right mind would pass up the opportunity to be pirates with you? Well, when you put it that way, I'm not sure. She giggles again. I notice my heart seems to be sped up. It's probably due to Emi's proximity to me. The hit of strawberries again. I can't help but grin as I gaze down at her. She's happy again. Hey, Hisao? If you're going to kiss me, you should probably do it soon. I think the lunch bell is about to ring. Okay, that's a bit teasing. My thoughts grind to a sudden halt. I'm pretty sure my mouth is hanging open in shock. All I can manage is just strangled. Huh? This amuses Emi even more. You were thinking about it, weren't you? She sits up, bringing her face level with mine. I'll probably enjoy it, you know. You're really, well, nice guy. She briefly composes herself, looks like she's about to say something important. If you haven't figured it out by now. Okay, you're just giving us the words that we think of you. I think I've developed a bit of crush on you. You're going to have to do something about that. This time her grin short-circuits several important thought processes. At some point I turned toward her, and at another point her arms moved to around my neck. And yet another, my arms wrapped around her waist. I'll be damned if I could tell precisely when that happened, because at that moment there's only a voice in the back of my head yelling at me to... I look into Emmy's eyes. There it is. The thing I saw yesterday on the bed. It's there again. It suddenly strikes me she's worried that I'll reject her. What's the worry for her to have? Aww. How sweet. In a way, that's real sweet. Her lips taste faintly of strawberries. She leans into the kiss and her arms tighten around the back of my head, making sure that I don't pull away. Not that there is any danger of it. There's a churning feeling in my gut. The world falls away. There's just me and her and this bench. My arms tighten, drawing her waist closer, entranced by the feel of her. I inhale her scent, my mind trying desperately to memorize everything about how she tastes, how she smells, how she feels. And the ringing of the bell snaps us both back to reality and we break the kiss. Emily's cheeks are slightly flustered, and she seems to be catching her breath. In her defense, so am I. We stand there for a few minutes trying to wrap our heads around what we've just done. Emily's the first to break the silence. So, want to grab dinner after I'm done with practice? What a coincidence. I was about to ask you the same thing. Well, actually, I suppose it was going to be some kind of proper date on the weekend or something, but the thought was there, I think. Emmy gives me a playful shove. Yeah, right. You are still in shock of how incredibly awesome I am. Okay, I'm not going to finish that sentence there. We begin to head down the stairs back to our respective classrooms. Hey, I didn't see you talking immediately afterwards either. That I didn't. See you after practice, Hisao. She leans in quickly and gives me a quick kiss in the middle of the hallway, sending me into another brief state of mental freefall. As I head into my classroom, of course, Misha would do that. Misha knows what's up to. What is up? Why, Hi-chan, you romantic you. Did you confess on the rooftop? Did ya? Actually, I think it was the other way around. This sends Misha into a fresh fit of laughter. Young love is... You're young as well, for goodness sakes. Unless, of course, you're a time traveler. Then you could be like 400 years old. This being Misha, I suppose I should be expected her to tease me over this, I guess. Before I can really respond, Mutas enter the room and Misha skips off to her seat, giggling all the while. I suspect that I'll get a lot of that sort of conversation now, especially seeing as how Emmy kissed me right in the middle of the hall. But somehow I don't care about that. I don't care what the rest of the world thinks right now. For the first time since arriving here, my heart feels light. Very fleeting. Very in clouds. Oh, Act 3. Let's see. Act 3, Perspective. It's all about perception at the end of the day when it comes to certain situations in life. My head's in a spin all through Muto's class. I'm going to have dinner with Emmy, who was to be my girlfriend, no less. A date. Then she kissed me. That kiss. I keep going back to it, playing it over in my mind again and again. Everything about that moment felt so right. My mind drifts off, lost in thoughts of Emmy. Nakai. Hello? It seems I've drifted a bit too far. What? Egad. You've contacted some kind of amnesia. Someone get the nurse. The class chuckles at Mito's antics. Sorry, sir. What happened again and all that, right? Exactly. Yuto brightens considerably. Well, lovely to hear. I'd hate to have my star pupil slacking off after all. Wait, I'm your star pupil? I've been doing well, but I hardly qualify as a star pupil, I think. I think that'll be more or less Shizune's territory. I'm fairly certain that this class is a sort that everyone does well in. It's just memorizing formulas. Choose my words and manage to pay attention for the rest of class. Stop thinking about Emmy. Nakai, may I have a word of you? About what exactly? I wonder if I'm in trouble for earlier. Sure. Am I in trouble? Muto looks genuinely confused for a moment. Beg your pardon? He tilts his head to one side and thinks for a moment. Oh, that? No, you're not in any sort of trouble. There's just a question I want to ask you. What's that? Nothing terrible. I was just wondering what your plans are after graduation are. Are you going to university? Yeah, I guess. I can't really see a reason not to go. Give any thought what you'll study? Not really, no. I think I'll come up with something when I get there. Muto laughs. Taking things as they come, eh? I'd argue against it, but that's how I did things when I went to university. Well, not really. I knew I'd go into a science. I just wasn't sure which one. So either biology, chemistry, physics. Of course you would end up with physics. But could just as well gone for astronomy or what have you. Astronomy is in a way physics, don't you think? Actually, I did go for chemistry first, but there are all sorts of things. Muto trails off and frowns slightly. It takes a minute for him to recover his train of thought, and I'll wait patiently for him to continue. So anyway, I did a lot of physics as well, because I had an interest in that, but I wasn't sure if it was for me. So I went back to chemistry, and here we are, yes. Yes? He smiles at me enthusiastically, as if waiting for me to confirm that yes, here is where we are. Somehow I get the feeling that Muto had a plan for this conversation, but I'll be damned if I can figure it out. I'm sorry, I'm not following you. Muto frowns and rubs his chin a bit, looking perplexed. He then snaps his fingers as if he remembered what the point of all this was. Right, yes, you. Me? Yes, you should look into... No! Don't just decide for us! You're fantastic at it. Unless you'd rather just go into math. Muto makes a sour face. Not a big fan of straight math. I've always liked the experiments more than the proofs. You're saying I should study science at university? Muto seems thrown off balance by my question. Well, sort of. You could also join the science club. Trouble is, there's not actually a science club. Then why offer that up in the first place if there isn't a science club? But there could be. You could even be a charter member. A founding father. Of course you need to find other members. Well, only if you want to. We could just start up with the two of us. And, I'd give you things to read and we could talk about them. And I could help get you ready for university and such as well. Wait. Muto ramages around in his briefcase and tosses me a book. Read that. If it's interesting, then we could talk about it. A Brief History of Time. I don't know if I actually want to read this, but Muto seems pretty excited about it. What's it about? Time. Space. Space-time. Black holes and such. And it's not that dense. Oh yeah, of course, just like algebra is not dense. Just to see if that sort of thing's interesting for you. You understand? Hang around after class and we can either discuss it or I can show you how to make explosives in the lab. He waves a hand on my quizzical expression. Joking, sorry. Still, I've kept you here long enough for now. Think about science as a career path, Naki. I think you'd enjoy it. Okay, I will. Thank you for the book. I leave the classroom and look up at the clock. Quite a chunk of time to kill until Emmy's out of practice. Guess I'll give this book a look. I should probably shower as well. Showering before a date's only proper, right? I head back to the dorms. I wonder where I'm supposed to meet Emmy anyway. She said after practice, but she didn't say where I should find her. I guess I could just swing by the track. That's probably best anyway. Or by the dorms. If she needs a shower, I can just wait for her in her room or something. Or in the hallway, I guess. That'd be better as well. I take a quick shower, remembering to take my medication once I hop out. Now for a look at this book. The book that absorbs us into a black hole of its kind. Wait, what, the next day? What about that date with Emmy? What kind of conspiracy is going on here? I wake with a start. Sheesh, what time is it? I glance at the clock reveals I've been asleep for nearly an hour. Thank goodness. Emmy's practice should be finishing up soon. I throw on some casual clothes and head for the track. Somehow I get a thing won't be doing anything fancy for dinner. Emma doesn't strike me as a very fancy sort of person, but looks can be deceiving. Still, I suppose there's a lot I have yet to know about Emmy. Despite our newfound closeness, I still feel like I don't know her as well as I should. Oh well, I've lots of time to fix that. To be honest, I'm looking forward to getting to know her more. I'm so caught up with my own thoughts that I hardly register that I'm already at the track. Emmy is nowhere to be found. I don't even see any signs of attracting. This could be embarrassing. I turn to head towards the girls' dormitory when I hear a shout. Hey, hi, Sal! I turn around to see Emmy making a beeline for me with a gym bag slung over her shoulder. She's changed to some decidedly more casual clothing, a pair of shorts and olive green top. Her running blades have been replaced by more realistic looking legs that probably won't fool anyone. Emmy doesn't seem to care about that, a fact which makes me smile. Hey, you came! I mean, I figured you would, but still... I suddenly find myself wrapped in a rather affectionate hug, and it proves to be impossible for me to keep what must be the world's largest grin off my face. Well, of course I came. I'd be crazy not to, right? Emmy ponders for a moment. You know, that's true. I mean, I'm pretty amazing after all. I shrug in response. I certainly think so. It's an offhand remark, which is why I'm supposed to see if that seems to have caught Emmy by surprise. She blushed and smiles warmly at me before planting a kiss on my cheeks. Now it's my turn to be surprised. Emmy steps back, resting her weight on her back heel, looking pleased with herself. My brain fumbles for an appropriate response. I should compliment you more often. Emmy laughs and gives me a playful shove. Jerk. I throw an arm around Emmy's shoulders and please when she immediately leans into me as if it were the most neutral thing in the world. So, where to? I'm not actually sure. I'm not actually sure myself, for goodness sakes. Where do people go on dates around here anyway? I don't know, the park or a local cafe, a restaurant, a landmark of sorts, a national resort? That's a damned good question. I've got no idea. Why don't we just head down to the Aura Mart and grab something portable? Aura Mart? Emma's face brightens at this idea. A picnic! I think you're onto something, Hisao. Great, the picnic idea again. Emmy snakes her arms around my waist and we begin to head for the front gate. I'm entirely unsure what I meant to do in this situation, but at least Emmy seems to be equally clueless. Two as equally birds running on the streets. Despite the relaxing feeling of being with Emmy, I still can't help but feeling a little tense. What if I do something wrong? Believe in yourself, man. I need to make an ass out of myself. Stop thinking like that. The trip to the Aura Mart is accompanied by Emmy's chatter about how practice went. I keep quiet for the most part, merely enjoying the warmth of being around Emmy. We get a few odd looks from passerby, but I don't mind. We wind up buying some bread and instant noodles, realizing too late that we cannot actually cook the latter in the park. Oh well, I'll make it up for lunch or something. That'll work. The park is located after a brief loss of direction, but I entirely blame on Emmy for. She of course blames me. We find a spot beneath a tree and sit down. I lean back against the trunk, Emmy sits across from me. I guess we should have brought a blanket or something to sit on, huh? Emmy shrugs. I don't mind. Neither do I. Emmy tosses me a package of bread and we dig in. Curry bread. Interesting. I guess I wasn't really paying attention to what I grabbed in the store. Hey, Hisao. You look like your bread's a little spicy. I shake my head, trying in vain to keep an image of manliness. Now it's hardly spicy at all. I see. That must be why your face has gotten so red. Yes, exactly. The lack of spice has got my blood up because of the disappointment. Emmy laughs and swallows a last of her bread. Well, if you can't handle it, I'll be glad to take it off your hands. Hey, just because you wolfed down yours so quickly doesn't mean I'm just going to give you mine. Emmy mock pouts, caused me nearly choke my bread with laughter. Oh, come on, Hisao. Aren't you supposed to be concerned with making sure I've got enough to eat now? We're dating, you know. Though, Emmy looks troubled all of a sudden. I can't say I feel any different. What do you mean by that? What makes this a date? It's just what we would have done anyway, really. But this should feel different because before, when we had lunch, we were friends. And now we're a level above friends. You sound like Rin. Laughter escapes and Emmy grins. Well, she might have put before into my mind. We've talked about that sort of thing before. Really? About me? I don't think you necessarily, but the topic at hand. Not really. Just stuff. Really. Really. Rin thinks that the change of a label from friend to girlfriend seems arbitrary most of the time. Like there's no difference between the two. I can think of at least one, you know. You don't tend to kiss your friends quite as much. For the second time today, Emmy blushes slightly and giggles. I suppose you're right. Exactly. I'm always right about things like this. Emmy rolls her eyes and chuckles. Guess you're pretty smart, huh? I nod in agreement. Yep. Even Muto thinks so. He thinks I should go into some scientific study after graduation. Emmy raises an eyebrow. Oh, really? Yeah, I'm thinking I might actually just do that. Really, the more I consider the idea, the more it appeals to me. I make a mental note to look like it a little more closely. So what do you think you're doing after graduation? Still planning on running? What, running away from your plans? I'm just kidding. Emmy shrugs, seeming almost a bit hesitant. I don't know. If I'm good enough and I can find a team, I guess. You mean you aren't sure? I haven't really thought about it, to be honest. Really? You probably should, you know. Graduation isn't that far off. Emmy fidgets a little nervously. Yeah, well, it's far enough, right? Besides, I've got other things to think about. There's a mischievous flash behind Emmy's eyes, and I suddenly find myself gloriously pinned against a tree. That's not a predatorial thing to do. Like making sure this is a real date, right? I mean, if we don't kiss, then it's not a date at all, right? You can still have a date and not have a kiss, for goodness sakes. I suppose... Strawberries and curry. Not the best combination, but I don't think I'll mind. Emmy sits back on my legs and grins. There, science would approve, right? I have the oddest mental image of Muto nodding seriously and making a mark on some checklist. Yes, the chemistry is 100%, my boy. I'm very proud of you. I can't help but laughing at the idea. Well, I'll admit, this is the first time I've ever witnessed a kiss being met with laughter. Should I feel offended? No. I'm sure science approves. Emmy beams at me and I find it increasingly difficult to keep my brain functioning properly. Oh, good. It is at this point that he knew he should kiss back. What the hell? Emmy has stolen the remainder of my curry bread while I was otherwise occupied with images of teachers wielding clipboards. Hey! Emmy tries to look innocent, but considering she just crammed the last bits of my bread into her mouth, it does not appear to be working. Thief. A shrug from my companion is all I get in response. Oh dear, why am I like that? You use your feminine wiles on me. I wasn't that hungry anyway, but I still feel that a point needs to be made. Emmy seems confused by the phrase feminine wiles, but the understanding dawns on her features after a moment's thought. Wasn't anything of the sort. You were laughing. Feminine wiles don't involve laughing. I guess I can't argue with this. But that doesn't change your thievery. Emmy laughs at my injured tone and gives me a playful shove. Fine, you can have the instant noodles. Are you kidding? That stuff's terrible. If anything, you should definitely eat it as punishment. Another laugh from the girl sitting on my legs. Both of which had fallen asleep by now. I twitch one leg to try and waken it up, which has the unintended effect of unbalancing Emmy, who falls to the side with a started "Ip!" Whoops, sorry about that. Legs fell asleep on me. Emmy remains on the ground giggling. I stand up a little shakily, feeling the nerve in my legs returning to normal. My eyes wander over the scenery before fixing on the figure of Emmy, who is yet to get up. Ah, that is just such a playful imagery right there. On the grass itself, Her hair is sprayed out and around her head, her arms are spread, and laughter is bubbling up through her mouth. Everything about Emmy seems condensed into this one image. Her energy, her spirit, her childish giggling. The urge to lay down on the grass with her rises swiftly from the back of my mind to the forefront of my thoughts, and indeed I am convinced I would love nothing more than to just do that. Unfortunately, the sun has set and it's probably time for us to get back to the dormitories. While Emmy may be happy to stay out here all night, I don't think I have that ability. Besides, homework soon beckons. Beckons soon? It wouldn't make sense to start thinking about things like university events slack off, would it? I extend a hand to Emmy to help her up. We should probably get going. Emmy makes a sour face. You're right. She grabs my pre-offered hand. I thought she'd be offended like that. How dare you end this date early? Do you not love me? You hate me, don't you? I'm leaving you. And I pull her to her feet and into a hug. This time I'm one who kisses her, unable to resist having Emmy against me. Seems a shame to leave, you know. Yeah, it does. But if we don't get back to the school soon, we'll probably get into trouble. Emmy pokes me in the ribs physically. And you need to do your homework, I'm sure. Same with you. Sadly, you're absolutely right. I throw my arm around her shoulders, and we make the trek back to the school, accompanied by occasional bouts of laughter as our conversation jumps from subject to subject. Everything from running to school to the peculiar way that one of the cafeteria workers smells. That is really peculiar. All too soon we find ourselves outside of a girls' dormitory building. Well, I guess I'll be going then. I guess so, huh? Emmy grins at me again with that mischievous look. Are you going to be able to survive without me? Well, we survived for many years without you, so I think we could be able to do with just one night without you. I'm sure I'll manage. How terrible. Aren't you supposed to say something like, I'll be counting the seconds you are away? No, I don't think so. He pulls me down to a quick goodbye kiss and steps back looking unexpectedly shy. Thanks for dinner. I really had fun. Honestly, I did. So did I. I think we should have to do it again sometime. Emmy laughs at my deadpan delivery and nods. See you bright and early tomorrow morning, right? You gotta run off that bread after all. And you've gotta run off that gob. Oh, I'm just kidding. Of course, despite the fact that you ate most of it. Yes, despite that. See you later, Hisao. See you tomorrow, sunshine. You are the sunshine after all that I never discovered until I looked in the sky and saw that Emmy was indeed the sun. As Emmy turns her head inside, I noticed something weird. Something so weird I'm surprised I didn't notice it earlier. She's limping slightly, favouring the left leg. Hey, Emmy! Is your leg okay? Emmy looks confused, or at least fakes confusion. What are you talking about? Your right leg. You're limping. That's the briefest flash of concern on Emmy's face. Either she didn't want me to know, or she didn't think I'd notice, or I prefer to think she just didn't realise it. Oh, that? She shrugs casually. Must have gotten knocked a little out of alignment during the picnic. No idea what would have caused that, of course. I think back to being pinned under the tree. You should have told me. We could have stopped and fixed it, you know. Emmy waves a hand airily. Nah, it's not that big of a deal. Don't worry about it, okay, Hisao? Of course we would worry. It's fine. Why do I get the feeling that she's convincing herself as well as me? I'm not going to just simply idle by and just allow this to be a thing. Just let it rest. Well, she's probably fine. I imagine she'd say something that it was really a problem. Heck, she'd probably get annoyed if I kept bringing it up. Now really, I need to get going. Your attempts to keep me around are doomed to fail. Of course, just prolonging the goodbye, I suppose. Another grin lights up Emmy's face. Good night, Hisao. Good night. As she limps inside, I find myself hoping that she's okay despite her assurances that she's fine. I think I can call this a successful first date. Hell, any day that ends with Emmy pinning me under a tree to kiss me can't be bad, can't it? What the heck is that meant to be? That is definitely screenshot worthy. I head back to my room, mentally thank the gods that Kenji doesn't ambush me in the hallway and question me what I've been doing throughout the day, and not saying to him that we have a girlfriend and him just being furious at us. Let's get on with our homework and just not be pinned on a tree or on a wall ever again. Mentally, that is. Righty-ho, what is gonna bring about on the day? The morning is far too early for my taste. It doesn't help that I had trouble sleeping last night. Again. There are simply too many things to think about. My mind refused to slow down. Instead, I replayed the rooftop, the park, and everything else over and over in my mind. There's a small part of my mind that is still paranoid that this has all been some kind of joke, a fever dream. That I'll meet up with Emmy at the track and should act like nothing happened yesterday. Pushing these thoughts to the back of my mind, I throw on my running clothes and open the door. Emmy's waiting for me with her usual smile. You're late. Or at least you're not early today. Are you tired or something? I find myself ruefully rubbing the back of my head. Something like that, yeah. Lots to think about and all that. Emmy giggles at my mild understatement. Yeah, I didn't sleep that well either. I was actually glad you weren't early, because I wasn't early either. I wonder if the same thing kept us awake. The image of her weeping face passes through my mind. What kept you up? Emmy's expression falters, but she quickly notices my curiosity and forces a smile. Nothing important. Are you sure now, Emmy? Are you sure it is not thinking about your beloved other half in the future? Under the wonderful church of the church bells and stuff like that. Anyway, she's obviously not telling me something. The question is, should I press the issue? Something's clearly been bothering her for a while. I want to help her, but would it just come off as me being nosy? She's got to know I care about her, though. Are you sure? If something's bothering you, I'm here to help you sort it out. Emmy laughs then, but it's not her usual laugh. There's an edge to it that seems almost bitter. Sort it out? I'm not sure if it can be sorted out, Hisao. An almost grin smile crosses her lips. It's like a smile of resignation. I don't think you could help me anyway. That hurts. I don't want to say that it hurts to her, but it does. Doesn't she realise I want to be there for her when things go wrong? I think there are things that you can't actually help her out with, let's say, a monthly thing that is kind of a pun to the periodic table. Well, I won't push on the matter, but I'm here for you if you decide later that you'd like to talk about it. It might help. I could see the debate raging behind Emmy's eyes. It seems like she wants to tell me, but she's not sure whether or not she can. Hey, forget about it for now, okay? We've got running to do. The mention of running something that she can handle brings Emmy back to her usual self. Right. Hurry up and stretch out, Hisao. We've got to get moving. She takes off like a shot, far quicker than I'm used to. And still, I try to keep pace with her, recklessly testing my limits. It gives me a feeling of freedom, like my heart is no longer important. I find myself wanting to laugh, filled with the feeling of moving beyond what I once called my boundaries. The nurse's warnings to not overdo things echo in my mind to disregard them. Stop it! This feeling I have, the willingness to risk a heart attack for something so trivial as a morning run, feels out of character for me. But is it? Or rather, should it be? I've got a weak heart, sure. It'll never be capable of the kind of speed and endurance Emmy's capable of, so that's why you should run at your own pace. Though I probably wouldn't be able to get that good even if I had a healthy heart. As we round the final bend, I feel my legs screaming in protest, but for the first time I ignore them. I accelerate to finish at a sprint, nearly catching up to Emmy. That was never going to happen, of course. Still, I felt surprisingly good. Oh, sure, my legs feel like they're about to catch fire, and I'm having trouble staying upright. but there's been a shift of some sort today, and it's all thanks to the girl green at the finish line waiting for me. That felt a little faster than usual. My comment is met with a grin and a smug. Can't have you think I was going to go soft on you, now can I? But you managed to handle it just fine. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Still feeling the high from a run and moved by a surge of gratitude, I seize Emmy in a hug. Thanks. Really, I'm not just saying that. I mean your debt. Emmy seems flushed by my words, sputtering uncontrollably. Don't be silly, Hisao. Someone had to haul you out here, didn't they? And it's not like you're not doing anything for me, right? I need a running partner, remember? I shake my head, still pointedly not letting go of Emmy, who stops squirming and merely looks up at me with a quickly deepening blush that almost seems out of character. No, that's not true. You wanted a running partner, but you didn't need one. I think that is incorrect. If I hadn't shown up the day after the festival, you would still run, right? But it didn't work the other way around. I only managed to make it out a few times before the festival, and without you, I probably wouldn't have made it out at all after that. Emmy smiles at me and prods my chest with one finger. You are pretty lazy, Hisao. Hey, I was giving you a compliment. Well, you're welcome, I guess. I'll pay you back somehow. Well, that's not necessary, you know. I mean, I kind of like you, Hisao. And being able to run with you in the mornings isn't exactly a bad deal for me either, so... For someone who gets so much praise, she seems unused to gratitude. I can't think of anything else to say, so we fall silent. Unused to it, not unused. I become aware of Emmy's breathing, of the dampness of her clothing, and of the scent of her. Coming off of anyone else, it would stink. Coming off of Emmy, it fits her in a way nothing else could. Her skin is cool, slick with sweat, and her breeze causes goosebumps to rise. Almost without thinking about it, I lean down and meet Emmy's mouth, which has already moved to meet my own. Her lips are soft and she hums kissily happily as we kiss, sending vibrations from her mouth to mine. There's a startling rightness to everything about this movement. We fit one another perfectly, like two pieces of a jigsaw puzzle that is perfectly compatible with one another. The kiss ends and I find that my arms drop back to my sides. Emma is smiling warmly at me and giggles again. Come on, Hisao, we better go see the nurse. Then it happens. Aha! Something does hurt after all. It's not just the adjustment of the goddamn prosthetic. Emmy! I leap to steady her and notice it with some concern that she's favouring the same leg as last night. Your leg. Emmy seems panicked and pushes away from me. It's fine. My expression must seem hurt because she hastens to apologise. Sorry, didn't mean to push you like that. I was just... She stumbles for something to say. It's nothing It's not nothing. It's never nothing. Hey, don't worry about it. She's so flustered I decide to shrug the whole thing off. But there's a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach that won't go away. I try to step in and help her and she pushed me away. Smiling, I shove those thoughts to the back of my mind and concentrate on Emmy. I just don't want you to get hurt, that's all. You don't have to worry about me, honest. I'm fine. Yes, you say that, but I don't believe you. I keep worrying about you regardless, and not saying anything yesterday just makes me feel guilty about today. I should have at least asked. Well, you can always mention it to the nurse before Emmy goes in. Would she have reacted the same way last night? Guess I'll never know now. I'm still trying to sort out what happened on the track as we arrive in front of the nurse's office. Emmy raises her hand to knock, hesitates and turns to me smiling guiltily. Hey, can you do me a favour? Of course. Can you tell the nurse I'll see him later? I just remembered I've got some stuff to take care of before class. So I really need to get moving. I peer her closely, and she fidgets under my stare. Yeah, she's clearly just avoiding the nurse. That leg of hers. Well, whatever. I said I help, and so I will. But I'll make damn sure she sees the nurse before the day's out. Yeah, okay. I'll let him know. Emmy looks like I've just given her a pony for Christmas. Thank you so much. You're the best, Hisao. I'm ward of my complacency in her lie by a kiss that makes it all worth it. Or so I tell myself. As Emmy heads out of the building, trying hard not to let her limp show, I knock on the door of the office. Hi Sal, come on in. I don't see Emmy with you. She's not sick again, is she? From the tone of his voice, I don't think the nurse expected me to say yes, she's ill. She said that she'd forgotten to do so and she had to skip out, but she'll see you later today. The nurse heaves an exasperated sigh. He's not convinced by this. Honestly, that girl. She's been avoiding me. Yesterday she was in and out of here without even taking off her prosthetics. And now this? Well, at least it's not just me Emmy doesn't want worrying. That's a comfort, I guess. Still, I feel I should say something about her leg. I said I'd lie for her, but she really needs to see him. Now that you mention it, she was limping pretty badly today. And last night as well. The nurse's eyes narrows at the words last night. And what exactly were you two doing last night? We were, on a date. The nurse raises eyebrows in surprise. Really? Interesting. Huh? Oh, nothing. His gaze turns thoughtful and then he grins at me. You don't think you could use some of that boyfriend charm to get her to come see me today, could you? Of course, I was planning on doing that anyway. I think she's really hurt and just pretending she isn't. Yes, she does that. Afraid I'll make her stop running. Will you? Well, there'll be no choice. I don't like to, but if it's bad enough that she's been limping, well, I guess I have to see what's wrong for myself before I make that call. I see. Emmy, not allowed to run. Perish the thought. I don't know if she'd be able to function without running, for she is running, and running is Emmy. No wonder she's reluctant to admit anything's wrong. Well, I'll make sure she sees you. Good. Oh, and before I forget, he grins at me again in what feels like a vaguely threatening manner. Don't forget that I know what medications you're on. You be careful around Emmy. Got it? Well, he looks serious too. Got it. Don't hurt Emmy. Wouldn't dream of it. Grand. I hate for you to be late. Huh? Late for class. Late as in late Hisao Nakai. He frowns briefly, dissatisfied. Sounded better in my head. I thought he was trying to get at some sort of joke. Well, at any rate, get out here before you miss your first class. You got things to do, I'm sure. Shoo! As I leave, I notice the nurse pulling out his phone and dialing a number. Maiko, your daughter's been a pain in the ass again. I better head to my room or I will really be late. Hey, wasn't he supposed to check my heart rate? I think the topic got sidetracked to Emmy. The lunch bell sounds, and also as well, if Hisao was in any immediate need for attention, then obviously the nurse would obviously go to that first. The lunch bell sounds, and I bring myself out of the stupor I slipped into during the morning's class. My lack of sleep last night, coupled with the increased pace of the morning's run, has left me a little exhausted. Stacked together, despite that I find myself skipping stairs up to the roof. There's a thrill of excitement now, in addition to the pleasure one gets from eating lunch with one's friends. True, both Emmy and Rin are still my friends, but Emmy has become more than that now. Rin is back in her usual spot on the roof, almost as if she'd never been absent. Hello, feeling better, I take it? A raised eyebrows is my reward for speaking. Better than what? Better than you felt yesterday. Rin gives my question some serious thought. I'm not sure. I think I might have felt rather good for some of yesterday, but it's all fuzzy. Then it was a good thing we didn't go into that room, was it now? Too much cold medicine? Well, I was asleep, and that usually is pretty good. But I can't remember what it feels like to be asleep, because I'm not conscious for it. It's a real problem. Yeah, that's what sleep does. Then again, if I knew how good it felt, I might not sleep anymore. But this way, I keep trying, so I guess that's how I could keep from being overtired. An eternal mystery to keep you sleeping at night. Maybe mystery is the wrong word. Intangibility might be the proper way to describe it. I see. No, I don't see at all. I have no idea what she's talking about. But that's okay, since I really do. Do you remember what sleeping feels like? Like yesterday, do you remember what you felt like sleeping yesterday? Well, I actually didn't get a lot of sleep yesterday. Maybe it's because you remember subconsciously. Actually, I think I was worried about Emmy. Doesn't Emmy worry enough about herself? I didn't consider that, but it gives me pause. True, but would she ask for help if she needed it? Rin frowns, and I raise an eyebrow. Will I get a proper answer? Probably not. Is there something she should be asking for help with? Her leg, for starters. But it seems to catch Rin's interest. Leg? It hurts, but she won't see the nurse about it. Rin shakes her head in disapproval. You have to make her. Like she makes me go to class for her own good. Otherwise she could lose her legs again. What do you mean by again? And that's just too weird. Losing things twice. Especially if you don't find them again to begin with. Unless prosthetics are the same as finding something. But that's a different kind of loss, isn't it? I think so. I wonder. Wonder what? Emmy seems to have snuck up on Rin and me, though Rin doesn't seem especially surprised, which is in itself unsurprising, I suppose. Rin managed to sit herself upright quite expertly, throwing her upper body forward and using her momentum to right herself. Your leg, how's it feel? That earns me a frown and a bit of a glare. It's okay, I think. Not worth worrying about. Tell that to the nurse. He's quite insistent that you visit him, you know. Emmy pouts just like I told her that she's been grounded. He worries too much. He is concerned for you. It's not a big deal, just a little soreness. I try to resist rolling my eyes in exasperation. If it's nothing, then you should have no problem seeing him, right? Exactly. Emmy narrows her eyes suspiciously. Did he put you up to this? No, he did not. Well, maybe. A little. But that's not the point. I would have minded you to see him anyway. It would be terrible to see you really hurt and not doing anything about it. That would make it worse. And I don't want to see you hurt, you know. Call me crazy, but I kind of would prefer to see you happy and healthy. With each statement, Emmy's frown fades a little more, until eventually she's grinning, albeit a little shyly. Well, if you're going to put it that way, then I guess I'll have to see him. Otherwise, you'll keep worrying, and then I'll never hear the end of it, right? Exactly. That's right. I'll keep bugging you about it, and that might put a damper on our dates. How's the food, Hisao? Talk to the nurse, Emmy. How is your date, Hisao? Talk to the nurse, Emmy. Hisao, I think I'm ready to go over... Talk to the nurse, Emmy. See? It doesn't work that well. Emmy giggles at my high-pitched rendition of her own voice and gives me an affectionate shove. My voice isn't that high, jerk. I think it was pretty accurate. Thank you very much, Rin. Oh, no. Thank you, Rin. Emmy and I stare at Rin for a while before I burst into laughter. Emmy crosses her arms and huffs, mock offended. You're both jerks. Such vile calamities from you, young woman. I'm stunned you'd call me, of all people, a jerk. Honestly, I don't know what to think. Emmy sticks her tongue out at me. You ass. So, Rin, how's the art club these days? Rin, seemingly surprised by the sudden change of topic as I am, takes a moment to think before answering. I believe it is okay. Although Namaya keeps telling me to work harder, but I don't think he understands my methods. Yes, he is slightly creepy in a way. He always struck me as slightly creepy. Rin ponders the statement for a while. I never really noticed. But I don't pay much attention to him most days, so maybe that's why. How often do you meet? Once a week? Thinking of joining Hisao? What? Nah, I've already decided to join a club. Really? Which one? Well, it's not really much of a club, to be honest. You joined the tea club? No, I joined the science club, I think. Emmy looks highly confused. We have a science club? Not really, it's just me. Hi Sal, that's not a club, that's just sitting in your room reading books. No, I mean it's just me and Muto. I'm just the only student so far. Muto? Really? A force strikes her. Oh, is that what you've been talking about yesterday? You're meeting with Muto? Yeah, that was our first meeting, I guess. Emmy giggles. Nerd. Hey, I can't help being clever. You know, I could have used your help years ago. You should have had... That is really dark, you know, for goodness sakes. I laugh and then realise it's probably one of the very rare times I've laughed about my heart attack. Hindsight. Yeah? The ringing of a bell ends our conversation. Guess we better go. Yeah, I guess so. Come on, Rin, you too. Rin has apparently began to doze off, so Emmy gives her a sharp bump. I almost had it. Sorry, but you need to go to class. I disagree, but maybe if I nap in class I'll get it this time. Changing location is sometimes helpful, that kind of thing. What kind of thing? Inspiration for art? Neither Emmy or I bother asking what it is. As we arrive at my classroom, Emmy gives me a quick kiss and heads down the hallway, Rin in tow. I turn to enter the classroom to be met by the duo Shizney and Misha. Hi there, you two. Misha seems to be fighting a losing battle to keep from breaking it to a fit of giggles while she translates Shizney's last rant. While we are pleased, neither thrilled to see how you've managed to make new friends and forge relationship, that was such a cutie too, Hai-chan. I think that last part was probably Misha. We nevertheless feel compelled to politely remind you that public displays of affection are strictly forbidden. Really, that's disappointing, Shi-chan. By Section 8 of the Code of Conduct laid out in the Student Handbook. In this case, however, ignorance of the law may be your excuse, but we are feeling latent. And the paperwork required to punish both of you would only add to the already mountainous volume of work which confronts us, the sole members of the student council, and besides, you two are adorable together. Therefore, consider this a formal warning. Please refrain from such displays in the future, at least when Shizney can see you, Hai-chan. This whole spiel is so patently ridiculous I can't help but reply in the same pompous manner. Well, I, for one, feel enlightened. I apologize profusely for my rash actions and will strive to contain my basic impulses which I feel impel me towards such inappropriate displays of public affection. It is hardly my wish to burden an already overworked student council with such petty manners, and I will do my best to make your lives easier in this matter in the future, at least when Shizney is watching. This last line is delivered with a wink to Misha, who finally loses control of her laughter. Well said, Hai-chan. Chuckle a little myself, we enter the classroom. Shizney is not angry at us, which is very surprising, for goodness sakes. Class is uneventful. After the final bell rings, I find myself alone with Muto again. So, it looks like we've all assembled for the second meeting of the Science Club. Or is it the first? What do you think? Should we count yesterday as a meeting? Not really, no. Well, we did form the club yesterday, didn't we? That seems like club business, so we can safely call yesterday a meeting. Muto smiles in his usual stilted and awkward way. I wonder if the muscles in his face are just not shaped correctly to let him smile naturally. You really do have a knack for this, I think. Logical thought processes, that is. I guess so. A scientist speaks with authority, Hisao. The answer is, yes, I do. When the world wants to know how it works, we tell it, even if all we've got is a decent hypothesis. But we must sound certain anyway, because we're the authorities of the subject, right? On the subject. He chuckles to go along with his awkward smile and his awkward joke. I'm doing my best not to grimace, but I don't think I'm being too successful. That's entirely false, of course. We know a lot, sure, but nobody's an expert on how the world works. If only because nobody can be sure. With no certainty, there are no experts. But we like to pretend sometimes. There's some things we can be certain of, right? Yes, but no. We know gravity's there, for example. To illustrate, Muto picks up a pencil and drops it. See? Still there. But it's good to check every once in a while. What do you think's going to change? That's why you'll still see researchers mucking about with gravity. We're pretty sure we know how it works, but there's always a chance that something isn't how we think it is. So you check, and check, and check. That's science in a nutshell, Hisao. Also, you check with different kinds of items. A book will most certainly fall, but a feather will fall more slowly. The whole time I've listened, feeling rather spellbound, Muto seems to really be passionate about this stuff, I think. It's hard to tell sometimes how the world works, how humans work, how the universe works, how space-time works. All these questions to be answered. How space works. And depending on what I go into, maybe I could even figure out a way to fix my heart. That said, I don't think that's a real priority for me. Besides, as we start discussing the book he gave me yesterday, I find myself more and more interested in that than my heart condition. And before we even realise it, an hour's gone by. Well, let's call this meeting over for now, okay? We'll have another meeting tomorrow, or the day after. He considers this for a moment. Call it the day after. I've got a lot of grading to do. Okay, see you then. As I exit the classroom, I realise I don't really have anything to do tonight. Emmy and I didn't make plans, so I guess I'll go to the library. It beats doing homework in my room anyway. And the library always seems cooler than the rest of the building. Probably to keep the books from getting damaged by excess heat and humidity, yeah, moisture. Books are sturdy objects, but if you want to keep them in good condition, it takes a little effort. I've got several books that are so well worn, the pages are barely clean to the spine. It seems impossible for them to still be usable, but if you handle them with care. I make my way to the main desk where I spot Yuko busying herself with something or another. She smiles at me as I enter and waves. Hello, Hisao. Good to see you again. What are you looking for this time? Nothing in particular, I guess. I just didn't really feel like going back to my room, is all. Yuko nods. Well, if you're unoccupied, maybe you can help me look for something? Sure, what do you need? Yuko brings a finger to her lips and looks around furtively. She seems to be looking for eavesdroppers. Come closer. I take a few hesitant steps forward while feeling distinctly unnerved. Yuko lowers her voice to a confidential whisper. I'm on the trial of the Imako cat burglar. The what? Shish, the walls have ears, Hisao, or they might... But listen, those missing books, remember them? Yeah. Well, they weren't missing, they were stolen. I'm convinced of it. I remember you saying something of the sort earlier, but how do you know? Yuko leans in closer and, if possible, whispers even lower. Because I found one of his hiding places. You did what? Yuko looks triumphant. Found one of his stashes. It was under one of the stairwells in the boys' dorm. Kenji's. 3 books I've been looking for, all there. I suspected a thief before, but this proves it. So, did you take the books back? Yuko looks as if I just suggested she walked around naked. Are you nuts? He can't know I'm on him. He might go to ground and evade capture. So what do you need my help with then? Yuko casts another glance around the library and leans in closer. You've got to spy for me. Spy? Yeah, like when you're in the dorms, you know. Keep an eye out for suspicious activity. What constitutes suspicious anyway? I mean, Kenji's a pretty suspicious dude, but I'll wager he barely goes to class, much less sneaks into the library to pay for books. But he is one that stole them. Still, what's the harm in saying yes? At least it'll get me out of this weird conversation. Yeah, I can do that, no problem. Yuko straightens up and claps excitedly. Great! Now hurry up and talk about something else in case someone comes in. How's school treating you? Pretty well, actually. I'll be running the mornings with... Emi Aparasaki, right? Yeah, how'd you know? I served you two in a tea house, remember? I deduced that if you're going to run with anyone, it would probably be her. She looks pleased with herself. Impressive. Do you want to be a detective someday? Anyway, yes, we'll be running in the mornings. And, we kind of started dating. Yuko clasped her hands together excitedly. Really? That's great. I'll bet you two are great together. I love seeing people find one another like that, you know? I even thought to myself when you walked into Shanghai that one time. I wonder if that kid will wind up with one of those girls. Really? Yuko doesn't seem to note my somewhat weirded out tone and nods affirmatively. Yep, I could tell that you'd wind up with one of them, you know. I've got an eye for that sort of thing. Okay. Of course. Her expression droops slightly. I'm not so good at it myself. I'm sure that's not true. Oh, it's true. I met this guy once. We got along really great, but it turned out he was younger than me. And that was kind of weird, but not terribly so. How is it weird that... Okay. What was really weird was that he disappeared one day, and I've not seen him since then. That does seem kind of odd. Very odd indeed. Doesn't it? I hope it wasn't something I did. I feel compelled to reassure her. I'm sure it wasn't. I intend to try and calm her down further, but we both of us jump in surprise at the ring suddenly coming from my pocket. Yuko sighs to steady herself as I pull the phone from my pocket. I feel a little sheepish for indirectly causing the incident. Emmy, what's up? Oh, thank God I haven't called your phone before. I didn't know if this number would work or whether you'd pick up and I can't... Whoa there, Emmy, slow down. What's wrong? There's a pause on the other side of the line, during which I can hear Emmy trying to control her breathing in order to calm down. Something's got her terribly agitated and it's starting to agitate me. Can you stop by? Like, now or shortly after now. I really need to talk to you. There's a tone of pleading in the last sentence, but I don't think I've ever heard of from before. Of course, I'll be right there. Hold steady, okay? In my increasingly agitated state, I've apparently started saying things that don't make quite make sense. Okay, I'll be okay. Okay, I'll be okay. I'll see you soon. I press the button to end the call before slipping the phone back into my pocket. I apologise to Yuko for running off, and run off. Damn it, perhaps at some point I would have stopped to think about the time, or how suspicious it looks for a guy to enter a girl's dorm at this hour. Except right now I'm just concerned with getting to Emmy and finding out what's wrong and how I can help her. I knock on the door and I'm greeted with a subdued, "Come in." Okay folks, we're going to figure out what is the urgency in the next time around. Yes, ended off in a cliffhanger. What a surprise. But this is a lovely scene actually, or a lovely route rather. Like, definitely the more romanceable character, the more likely character in which you can see a natural budding in comparison to, let's say, Hisao and Rin, for example, which was a very, very complicated outcome. Thank you so much for watching. See you all in the next time, or complicated story rather. See you all next time with Katawa Shoujo, where we get to see what happens next. Have a lovely day and take care of yourselves.